Larry Klayman, the incredible warrior, founder of Judicial Watch and Freedom Watch. He's known for his strong public interest advocacy in ethics, individual freedoms. Larry became so famous for fighting corruption that the NBC hit show West Wing named a character after him named Harry Claypool, played by John Deal. His latest book is Whores, Why and How I Came to Fight the Establishment. Larry Klayman, welcome to InfoWars.
Thank you, Joel. Thank you for that nice introduction.
Great to have you. All right, before we get into some of the FBI corruption, let's catch up a little bit. What people want to know is the Clintons have a rap sheet that would make Al Capone blush. Why have they never been put away? What have you done to try to do so, and what has always stood in the way?
Joel, that's the $64,000 question adjusted for inflation, so it's now in the multi-millions. But this is the way Washington works. It's why I founded Judicial Watch back in 1994. Of course, you know, I left and I ran for the U.S. Senate, and I started Freedom Watch when I came out, and that can be found at freedomwatchusa.org. But it's all a giant kabuki dance in Washington, D.C. I did get a finding that Bill Clinton committed a crime when he released the Privacy Act protected files of a woman he sexually assaulted in the Oval Office, Kathleen Willey. But other than that, the government does not take action against its own. It's like the National Football League. You have the American Conference, the National Conference. They both exploit these scandals. They go on TV, whether it's Fox News or CNN, depending on whether you're right or left, but nothing ever happens because there's an unwritten truce between the parties that we're not going to take out any of our upper level establishment people. And that's why you need a Larry Klayman and a Freedom Watch. I've now recommended that I be appointed special counsel. I'll get the job done. I'll take care of the Clintons. I'll take care of Obama. I'll take care of the corrupt Republicans. We're nonpartisan, and they can sign our petition at freedomwatchusa.org. It needs to be, we have 15,000 names so far, but we need to have many more because the president needs to put his foot down and either nominate me or nominate somebody like me to finally get this job done, because they're going to destroy him. Mueller will destroy him, and so will the Obama-Clinton deep state.
All right, well, that's what I want to look. Conservatives have been very frustrated because, of course, Obama interfered in the 2012 election. He unleashed the IRS on conservative groups so they couldn't organize while the left could organize. Of course, Benghazi, American ambassador killed. All the evidence was there. Nothing happened. IRS, nothing happened. Now we've got the DOJ and FBI interfering in the 2016 election. What can you tell us to give us any encouragement or hope that the law will be applied against Obama and the leftists, that this will be any different, that it won't just be swept under the rug and let's move on?
Joel, it won't be any different unless I'm appointed special counsel. There's nobody like me, frankly. And you can see what's going on right now with Trey Gowdy. He's playing both sides of the street. He's going out in a private practice. He's praising Mueller. He started an investigation over Rob Porter in the White House, the guy who was accused of abusing his ex-wife. These people play both sides of the street. So, you know, it's not just an advertisement. I honestly believe I will risk my life for this country if I have to, and I have been threatened in the past, is that you need a Larry Klayman to be appointed special counsel or it won't happen. My former
group, Larry, go ahead.
You know, no, my former group gets documents. That's good. But then they ask the government to do something. The government's not going to do anything. And if I'm special counsel, I will have the powers of the Justice Department behind me, and I conduct investigations. We've got enough now to indict the Clintons, to indict Obama, to indict Mueller for leaking grand jury information, on Trump, for a lot of different things. And it won't happen unless I'm special counsel. It won't happen. There's nobody else out there that'll do it.
Okay, let's take, for example, what's going on with Jeff Sessions. You'd think he would have the power to clean house. And people seem very frustrated that he's kind of acting like an employee at the DOJ instead of the head of the DOJ. Why isn't this guy, hardcore Southern conservative, supported Trump from the get-go? Why isn't he cleaning house?
Joel, first of all, he's a politician, okay? So by his nature, he plays all sides at the same time. But the problem that Jeff Sessions has is that he himself is under investigation as either a subject or a target of Mueller's investigation. He's been accused of perjuring himself in front of Congress by virtue of saying he never met with a Russian ambassador. It was nonsense, even if he met with him. There was no big deal, but he didn't tell the truth, number one. He did meet with the Russian ambassador. Number two, he's under investigation for alleged collusion with Russia. He was on the Trump transition team, and he was also supporting the president to be elected president. And then, of course, he's been accused of playing a role in the firing of James Comey, which is, according to Mueller, possible obstruction of justice. So he's put his head in the sand. He doesn't want to offend Mueller or the Democrats, and he's been absolutely zero as an attorney general. I've said, and others have said after I said it, that he should resign or do his job. But he's been a complete worthless disgrace as the attorney general.
Well, what you're also saying is that he was neutralized by these attacks from the left. Don't forget, Devin Nunes was neutralized by an ethics complaint for like 6 months. So maybe this is a technique that they'll always find something to make you afraid to do anything. What would you do day one, Larry Klayman? You're the special counsel. You're in charge of the Clinton investigation. Just for me, you're going to investigate Obama's background and who his father really is. And you're going to find out what the DOJ and FBI were up to. What do you do day one? What's your agenda those first couple days?
Well, what I do is I impanel a grand jury, and you start hauling these people in front of a grand jury. Now, we know that the evidence exists that Obama put forward a fraudulent birth certificate, regardless of where he was born, and I don't believe he was born in this country. And I don't also, and, you know, with regard to who his father is, that's an open question, but it was a fraudulent birth certificate, and that is a crime. So he can be convicted for that. He can be convicted for using the intelligence agencies to illegally spy on hundreds of millions of Americans, notwithstanding President Trump. We know he was behind that. He can be convicted for misuse of the IRS. I can go on and on and on, Joel, but there's a lot there. And of course, the Clintons, we know about them. That's a criminal enterprise. And they used the Clinton Foundation as that enterprise to be able to make millions and millions of dollars at the expense of American national security. So yes, I'll bring them in. And that's the difference between Jeff Sessions and me. And that's why I want people to go to our website at freedomwatchusa.org. Sign that petition, because you see, the establishment doesn't want someone like Larry Klayman. We have to force it from the masses to say, yes, we need Larry, because I will risk everything. Sessions won't risk anything. He's there.
So you'll put up a grand jury, and you'll start calling people before the grand jury. You know, look, I'm hearing Jeanine Pirro every other Saturday. She says indictments are forthcoming, and I just don't see it. Do you think she's credible?
I like Jeanine Pirro, and I like what she says, but you know what? She doesn't understand. You know, she's been a judge in New York State. She was a prosecutor, but in Washington, D.C., the swamp, she doesn't understand it. She doesn't understand it yet. And, you know, Fox does this, and Fox does a good job, and I commend them, but they're doing it to boost ratings. They want people to think that something's going to happen, but we know it's not going to happen. Same thing for Hannity, you know, this optimism, or Sarah Carter or John Solomon. I know them both. They're nice people. They're good reporters. But it's to try to boost interest. But unless you have Larry Klayman as special prosecutor, it's not going to happen. It's never happened in my entire career.
Well, we're gonna come back next segment. We're gonna keep Larry Klayman with us. Please call in, ask questions of Larry. It's 877-789-ALEX. Again, 877-789-2593. Bring your questions to Larry Klayman. Let's see if we can get him into the special counsel's office. We'll be right back in a couple of minutes with Larry Klayman. Welcome back to InfoWars, the Alex Jones Show. Joel Gilbert here, coming to you right from the left coast with my guest, Larry Klayman. I'm going to take a few calls in a minute, but first, Larry, I want to ask you, you've been fighting the Clintons for 30 years. Tell us something we don't know that would just horrify us even more, if that's even possible. Did Hillary order the attack on the Waco compound? Give us one thing we don't know that people would be really shocked by.
What we don't know is what we don't know. Now, we know that there's a pattern in practice, Joel, of the Clintons going all the way back decades, where they use government services, they sell it for campaign contributions and to line their own pockets. There's a lot of things we don't know. Now, one of the things that I was trying to uncover was the sale of waivers to do business with Iran while Hillary Clinton was Secretary of State. This is something that hasn't come out. A Democrat judge was appointed to this case, and not one document ever came out. So consequently, that's something that we'll be looking into if I'm special counsel, because she was actually selling U.S. national security, undermining the sanctions against Iran, to line her own pocket. We know that's what they do. And I also want to get into some of the judges who have covered for them. Frankly, they should be indicted too for covering these things up. I'm writing a column today for WorldNetDaily.com about the judges, and we have such politicized Obama and Clinton hacks on the bench that they slow roll everything. And we've got to break through that. We have to start impeaching some of them, and I'm going to be working with the Judiciary Committee to do that. But as special counsel, I can bring them in front of the grand jury, and in fact, we can indict them for covering things up. Let me give you an example. Amy Berman Jackson, who's sitting on the Manafort prosecution, first of all, won't let Manafort out of house arrest. Then she puts a gag order on so he can't defend himself when he's being attacked in the media. On top of that, she's not concerned about the criminal grand jury leaks of Mueller, which are criminal. They're trying to destroy Trump and everybody around him before they're even tried. So these are the kinds of things. If a judge violates his or her oath of office, she should be indicted. And Amy Berman Jackson should be indicted. So that's why I need to be special counsel. I mean, there will be hell to pay.
All right, Larry, I think a lot of people would like to see that. Let's go to Rudy in California and see what he thinks of Larry Klayman as the special prosecutor. Rudy? Go ahead, Rudy, you're on.
Idea. This Robert Mueller is no good. I mean, he is truly the deep state. That's who he is. I mean, here I am. I'm in California. You know, I was raised around Democrats, but I'm becoming more, I guess you could say, more of a conservative Democrat now, but I'm different than them. I tell you, I'm getting tired of this. This is ridiculous.
Okay, thank you for the call. Let me go to someone else. Let's go to, there's also a Dr. Kelly who wants to volunteer for Larry's special grand jury. Larry, is it legal if you put on a Alex Jones supporter? Let's see what Dr. Kelly has to say.
Hey,
Are you
Larry,
there?
good to be there with you today, and thank you for your work. And I would like to volunteer, and I would like to call on all Californians and Nevadans to wake up. This is the grand jury reawakening. You need to get there and serve at your county level. You need to do the accusation and indictment functions of your criminal grand jury as well as your civil. And I've got to serve for 3 years in one of the 58 California counties, and I would like to volunteer for the special federal grand jury if needed.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the call. Larry, can you take volunteers in this way, or you'd have to get them more at random to be able to really kick ass? How does it work?
No, there's two ways to do it.
Who's on the grand jury?
Two ways to do it. I have a citizens grand jury in Ocala, Florida, a very conservative place. You know, I'm from Florida. And I actually did indict Clinton and Obama, and we convicted them in front of a citizens trial. Okay, this grand juries don't belong to the judicial branch. They don't belong to the executive branch. They don't belong to the legislative branch. Judge Scalia ruled that in a case, United States versus Williams, back in 1982. So we can do it in ourselves. But the problem is we can't enforce the indictments and convictions. And that's why if I'm special counsel, you see, I have the powers of the Justice Department, the U.S. Marshal Service. And once we indict them, once we convict them, then you can enforce it. Because I've always said that the worst punishment for Bill and Hillary Clinton is to be put in prison in the same prison cell together for the rest of their lives. But those grand juries are chosen randomly on voter rolls. Okay, but if people want to assist us as volunteers, that's something that we can consider. So go to our website at freedomwatchusa.org, sign the petition. You can put comments up there. Let me know who you are, and we'll be back in contact with you, because we do need a citizens' army. I'm trying to avoid, Joel, I don't want there to be a violent revolution. I want this to be peaceful. So we need Larry Klayman. And I know I sound like I'm advertising myself, but I honestly believe it in my heart, is that I'm the only one that will do it and can do it. Everybody else is like Jeff Sessions. They'll put their heads in the sand because they're going to put their interests ahead of the country. We don't have patriots anymore in positions of power in law enforcement that are willing to go against the Clintons. Sessions is a nice man, but he lacks guts.
Well, how and when did the DOJ and FBI and even CIA become so corrupt with leftists and people that are not following the law and are on to goose chases like Russian hoaxsters instead of dealing with people making threats and Islamic terrorists in the United States? How did that happen?
Well, it's always been somewhat the case. This is why I was a Justice Department lawyer. I'm very proud when I became one. I helped break up AT&T. But I saw how it was so politicized that if you were on the wrong side of the street, you're more likely to be indicted and tried. And if you're on the right side, they would look the other way. So it's been that way to a certain extent. But over the last several decades, it's gotten much worse, and it's gotten politicized. 97% of the lawyers at the Justice Department either contributed monies or voted for either Clinton or Obama. That's unbelievable. They're leftists. And the people at the top are scared to take them on, like Sessions, because they're scared that those people wind up going against them, leaking information, smearing them, whatever. There's this deep state that is highly leftist in this country. And that's why, I want to be special counsel, because I won't let that influence me. I've always been nonpartisan. I went against Bush and Cheney when they did the wrong thing. But this is not the kind of a situation where you need someone who's going to play politics. Our country's hanging in the balance. President Trump is our last hope before we get something even worse than Obama and Clinton. And we need to do whatever we can to bring about justice, to get these leftists financed by George Soros. And I'm of Jewish origin myself. I'm a Christian. I'm a Jewish Christian. So I don't mean this in an anti-Semitic way, but he's a self-hating Jew who assisted the Nazis in World War II in confiscating property from the Jewish people. This is the guy who's financing the Democratic Party and Obama and Clinton and the rest of them. He's extremely powerful.
Yeah, let me make a comment about Soros. I want to say something about Soros. Is people don't know the whole history, that he was the only Nazi spy that wasn't executed by the Russians. He shows up in London dealing stolen art that the Nazis had taken and that the Soviets had then captured. He's engaging in a one-man crime wave during the Cold War, trying to collapse the British pound. And then he comes to the U.S. with his Open Society program. He's somebody that, if you look at his history, you just have to ask the question, was he originally a Russian agent? And is that why they spared him? Just like the Nazis spared him because he agreed to work for them. Did he agree to work for the Soviets once they captured him? And I think if you look at his record, you have to ask that question seriously. Let's go to one more quick call with Chris in Virginia. Chris, you're on.
Yeah, what I was wondering about is how do we get rid of the entrenched deep state in the DOJ and the Justice Department? If you look at it, Mueller, then Comey, then what they're saying about Wray. How do these people get slipped in front of a president to how they can get put in positions of power, and then it filters down to the field agents around the country?
Okay, thank you for the call. We only got a minute left. Larry, can you comment, how do you get rid of this entrenched deep state? 97% of lawyers are leftists. It's all throughout the system now. Does it even matter that Trump won? Did Obama stack the system so much that it doesn't even matter?
It does. For the same reason President Trump has the power to have me appointed special counsel, and again, go to freedomwatchusa.org, sign that petition, because I send him those names, and I'm also sending Sessions those names. He has the same power to clean house at the Justice Department. He's not getting good advice right now. The poor guy is hit with 25 different things every day of people trying to destroy him, but he has the power to clean out the Justice Department. I'll tell you, most people there walk around like Night of the Walking Dead, like zombies. About 30% of the Justice Department actually does its job. You can get rid of 70%. Let's keep 30% who aren't inflicted by being Clinton and Obama loyalists.
Okay, Larry Klayman, thank you very much for being our guest. This InfoWars with Joel Gilbert. Thank you for being here. Please check Infowars.com, freedomwatchusa.org. Thank you so much, right from the left coast.